So James Gunn's version of Superman did a lot of things right, and if I hadn't made my stance completely clear on the movie, I think it is the perfect Superman movie. The characters in this movie are very real-world feeling, from all their amazing abilities to all of their very real human flaws. The flaws are so real that in one particular scene from Superman, it gives some additional insight that can be used in Marvel's Captain America Civil War. Welcome back to Jorky TV, and
before we get started,
I want to let everyone know that there will be spoilers in this video. If you haven't seen Superman yet, I'd heavily recommend seeing it first before watching this video. So, spoiler warning aside, the scene in question in Superman is the scene where Lois is trying to recruit the Justice Gang
Just a working name!
to assist in figuring out where LexCorp took Superman and what happened to him. So the Justice Gang in question here reply back it'd be a war crime to go against the government. They are funded by Maxwell Lord and that gives them restrictions. So because of not overstepping government legislation and a fear of losing funding, everyone besides Mr. Terrific opts out of assisting Lois in rescuing Clark. That also means that same Justice Gang can't help free the people of Bolivia either from the impending invasion. So now let's rebound back to Captain America Civil War. If you don't recall, after Wanda got a little bit silly and threw an armed and ready crossbones into a building... Just the slightest oopsie daisy, it was just 26 people. So, between that and the Ultron incident, it is decided that the Avengers need guidelines, and the United Nations should be the ones who decide what they can and cannot do. Meaning, the Avengers would have been in a similar situation the Justice Gang were in during the Superman film. Now, to give more context as to why that is so bad, in Civil War, the Sokovia Accords of course leads to a rift between the Avengers. There's Team Captain America, aka the correct team.
Yeah, boy!
And then there's Team Iron Man, aka the team that consists of the dude who was responsible for giving ChatGPT a superpowered body in the first place.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
All jokes aside, even if I'm not joking, Captain America firmly states his distrust with the governing bodies that make up the United Nations. In my opinion, rightfully so, given that one of the bodies in the United Nations was also willing to nuke a crowded New York City amidst the alien invasion in Avengers. And while I do understand there is still a very nuanced conversation here because I think Tony has valid points, the scene I'm talking about in Superman completely backs up everything Captain America was saying. So now let's rebound back to the Superman movie. Now, yeah, Superman does cross the lines of what is and isn't acceptable in the movie. Lois Lane completely called it out perfectly when she said that he took it upon himself to get involved directly in a war and intrude on multiple foreign policies, including grabbing a dictator and putting him against the cactus. My personal opinion is similar to his. He's saving lives, and saving lives takes priority above law if you have the ability to do so, which he does.
The consequences.
People were going to die!
However, Lois Lane isn't wrong, and it adds to the context that people already question if Superman is overstepping. So when we get to the point in the movie where the message his Kryptonian parents had sent him was decrypted and he's told to rule over the people of Earth, it makes sense as to why some people are a bit wary of him and his power. The problem comes in when Superman tries to do the right thing and turn himself in to explain what happened. The government agrees to allow LexCorp to be the one to bring him in and to use a highly powered inhumane cell to keep him captured. All the while not fully knowing the fact he's also being tortured in the process, along with how many others in Lex's pocket dimension. Now, yeah, we can say,
Jorky, the government didn't know that.
But yeah, that's part of the problem. Governments of any size and any scale can be manipulated and lied to. They don't always know, and to quote Captain America,
but it's run by people with agendas, and agendas change.
So now we have a captured Superman being tortured, other people missing, people getting shot so he can confess to a crime he didn't do, all while a governing body unknowingly approves of this. So while all of this is going down, you know what the Justice Gang are able to do?
Nothing.
If they do anything, it's a massive legal overstep and they'd lose funding because Maxwell Lord would lose funding, and that would cut their resources and apparently stop them from being, well, heroes.
Trash.
So let's compare this in a Marvel sense. In a world where Kingpin rises to a government position, which funny enough already happened, Let's say Daredevil or Spider-Man are suspected of a crime. They go to turn themselves in, and instead of being put into an actual prison or getting due justice, Kingpin assures a governing body, or even to an extent the UN, that he can safely lock these heroes away and bring justice to the people. All the while, they're locked away in some shady little box getting tortured by Kingpin's hired police force. When Foggy or Mary Jane go to ask for help, the heroes go, we can't, or we'd lose funding, or we'd risk committing a legal crime. Even to the extent, let's say they go, or a war crime. No matter the wording or the extreme, that's just not very heroic and it doesn't help. But under the Sokovia Accords, that's what the Avengers would have been limited to. They would have had to ask the government to help, or they would have had to ask the United Nations to step in, and whatever they said had to be followed. That was the entire point of the Sokovia Accords. Now back to Superman. Luckily, Mr. Terrific clutches up like the MVP he is.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
He also gives us one of the best scenes in the movie, and that's where he helps rescue Superman. Even at the risk of committing a war crime, true heroism steps ahead and the day is saved. Now, let's imagine Mr. MVP didn't do all of that. Lois goes by herself, the movie ends with a failed Metropolis, a Lex Luthor in charge, a dead Superman, and even worse, a dead Crypto. It doesn't really sound all that great, but that's what would have happened if Mr. Terrific followed the restrictions he was given. Just like the jurisdictions the Justice Gang had in Superman, I believe they are very highly comparable to the jurisdictions the Avengers were going to have if they followed the Sokovia Accords. And it goes to show exactly what kind of flaws could follow through if they were to follow those restrictions. So if the MCU itself didn't confirm that Captain America was right by the fact that the Avengers and other heroes continued to act without government jurisdiction, which led to them saving the day multiple times, James Gunn really inadvertently proves it even further. While the Justice Gang does eventually help save Bolivia from being invaded and Superman is freed, if they did things the way that plans similar to the Sokovia Accords had worked, things would have ended terribly for everyone. Innocent people would have died simply because these governing bodies can be manipulated. And make no mistake, I am fully aware Tony Stark would not have wanted things to go down like that. The problem is, it's what the Sokovia Accords would have restricted them to, and the Sokovia Accords are things that Team Tony was pushing for. Once again reminding us that Team Captain America was correct. And that's all for this video, folks. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. If you liked what you see, feel free to like. If you want to see some more, feel free to subscribe. You know how it goes. I'm always looking for some good back and forth discussions in the chat, so if you think I am mistaken, I'd love to hear it. And by the way, thank you guys for helping me almost reach 100 subscribers. That is a massive deal. I didn't even think I'd get there. So thank you for getting in early on this, and I really appreciate it. I hope we can continue to grow as a community and I can continue to entertain you. So until next time, you guys have a great day. Take it easy.